Hence, poetry is something more philosophic and of graver import than history, since its statements are rather of the nature of universals, whereas those of history are singulars. Meaning, history actually always talks about, explains, and speaks of singular events, individual matters, and personal peoples in one way or another. It's always about singularity, individuality, personality of events, history, chaos, and man and women in one way or another, no matter how deep, intense it gets, but it cannot transcend its own boundaries, limitations, barriers of singularity, individuality of events and man and women either, because it always talks about singular and statistical and limited and finite ways of thinking, behaving, acting, and also provides us with very finite statistical and limited knowledge of events, people, and many other incidences, etc. So that is the problem with history, that is inevitable and necessary also, and that is fundamental, imperative to it, that can neither be understood nor comprehended nor resolved by anyone in the world, because history is always based off singular events, ideas, and other problems. And we basically should accept history as it is without making any changes to it, without trying to change it or transform it in our own ways, desires, wants, which we should read philosophy as it is and learn from it as much as we possibly can. But poetry, on the other hand, has always had its own character, significance, distinction, identity, sovereignty, responsibility, virtue, and many other qualities that we don't always recognize, understand, approve of, appreciate, or pay importance to. Obviously, because we do not always like poetry, or many or most of us do not always read poetry because we don't like it, because we cannot understand it, we do not understand it, comprehend it, and that's why we don't read it, and that's why its qualities often goes unnoticed and unrecognized by most of us in the world. That does not mean poetry is not significant, moral, mature. It is philosophic. It is more philosophical, influential, significant, powerful, distinct than history ever could be. So obviously, poetry talks about many things that are important, significant, universal, at the same time through complex stanzas and compact short lines and words without the application of many words or paras. It's all about shortness, brevity, but it's also about character, consistency, morality, identity, distinction. And that's why it talks about universal. It talks about things that are always true, that always happen,